Hey guys, welcome to another Old Reader, New Reader. As you will notice, we have 4 people this time. That's a pretty big deal. So we have 2 special guest hosts today, the Astonishing Melanie
Hello.
and Kristen. We need to give you like an
I
adjective.
don't have a name. Yeah.
I didn't think about
Oh
it.
yeah.
We'll come up with one by the end of the show.
Nice.
So chances are you have seen Kristen before, but she is my co-host on Fangirls Assemble. We get together on Sundays and talk about stuff. And more often than not, the author whose book we were reading today is someone we talk about a lot.
It's true.
So it's pretty
Aw.
exciting to do this.
So you guys are the old readers and we're the new readers. Me and
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I first read this I think October. I was at a Starbucks at like 6 in the morning because I was in Ohio for like a Ren fair. And I woke up, as usual, way earlier than everyone else in my hotel room. So just me getting emotionally involved with this book and tweeting to Tillie Walden about it.
Oh. I
Yeah.
read it basically in one setting. Like I read maybe 100 pages, and then the next day I just finished the whole book because I wanted to know how it ended.
Yeah, it's a pretty
So.
quick read,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yeah, for over like 500 pages or something like that, it's very fast.
Yeah. I think Tillie's books tend to be that way, with the exception of On a Sunbeam, because there's a lot in that one, but this one I feel like maybe it's the nature of the book, but it's very easy just to get like swept in and then you're just like done.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Like I was reading, I'm swept into all her memories. It just keeps going, and it is a quick read with the 1-page panels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. You get swept in.
Yeah.
Omar, did you get swept in?
I was gonna wait to talk because you and Kristen are the guest here, so I was gonna let you all go first.
Oh,
Well,
thanks.
we can give a quick, not really so much a summary, but for those of you who haven't read Spinning, Spinning is one of Tillie's memoirs. So Tillie Walden is an author and illustrator who's typically featured, I guess, pretty much always featured in First Second. So usually it's First Second Books that publishes her work. And for the most part, she's always written like fictional stories, with the exception being Spinning.
That's dedication right there.
Wow.
So Spinning is her only biographical graphic
Yeah.
novel that
Mhm.
okay.
And this follows when people ask her what the book's about, she says it's about ice skating, but it's a lot more than that, obviously. And she even went, if you read like the author's note at the end, she had went into this book with the intention of making it more about like, I don't know,
Crap, I didn't read that.
first-hand experience of like
Omar, I told you to.
kids ice skating,
I know it.
It ended up being a lot more of just like, her own life and how like with like ice skating kind of being at the center of it, right? And like how her, home life and school life and just her own like personal growth, how that was kind of like how that affected her skating, and just really more about just like her own journey versus like competitive ice skating. And it's definitely, I think it's still my favorite book of hers.
Well, I definitely want to read more of hers.
Ooh, you would love On a Sunbeam.
What is it called?
On a Sunbeam.
On a Sunbeam.
It's science fiction.
Oh, that's a cool name.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
very cool. I wish I have artwork from it back here.
I will.
Oh.
I'm gonna add a couple of things to your description. There are times when I read comic books or watch movies that they always remind me how old I am. Number one, I had no idea how young she was when she wrote this and published this.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was 24, I believe.
She was born 96, right?
Well, I always assume when kids or when authors are talking about their young days, they're talking like, I assume, oh, you mean
the
like
80s?
in the 80s? Of course. And then I see
She's
her on
always
her
cell phone.
Well, she's talking about her cell phone. She's talking about Facebook apps, and I'm like, oh my god, how old is she? Because I don't remember growing up with those things.
We're the old
Yeah,
readers.
'cause she's-
really.
Yeah, we're totally the old.
She's like 5 years younger than me.
So she accomplished quite a
that's
bit.
not typical with books that we read here.
So, and I'm not saying that like detracts me at all from like, finding something in common with the character, but I just thought, oh, okay, we're obviously a generation apart. So let's see where this goes. The other thing that struck me as interesting was I had no idea that this was going to be more of a look inside of someone's head, as I wouldn't really call it memories, right? Almost like you're glancing into somebody's past and they themselves can't remember details, and it's pretty cool to do that. So I was thinking, like, man, is her artwork just, as I was flipping through those pages, like, does she not draw detailed backgrounds? Like, what's going on here? And then I realized, I'm like, oh wait, that's right. Even my own memories, I don't really remember that.
And which is interesting because, like, I know that Chris and I and a few people in the chat, Freddie, have the benefit of having read her other books.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a lot more bare in comparison to On a Sunbeam, which has, I think, very distinct world building and backgrounds and colors. It's very different. And I can't help but wonder if the reason why that's like this, and not to mention the author's note at the back again, but she talks about how,
using
like,
your resources.
Yeah, she wanted to revisit all these places, and she did, but it was so hard for her to do because she doesn't even keep a lot of, like, her, like, pictures or things from that time because it's just so painful for her. And I guess not necessarily like in a painful, in a PTSD way. It's just, I think that disconnect and, like, it's weird to visit some places from childhood where you have this weird, like, I don't know, embarrassing memories or not so positive memories. And I bet that's part of the reason why she didn't, like, wasn't as detailed in some of this.
I noticed in her doodles, like, within the book, right, where she's at school and it's supposed to be like the doodles, I was like, wow, that's a really different art style, right? So
Yeah.
those are really cool. And I know for me, when I, like Omar was saying, like with memories, I don't remember specifics. I mean, I have a horrible memory. I've got a little bit of face blindness. Like, so this book, I didn't mind at all about the backgrounds because it was all about the emotions, right? So yeah, maybe like what you said, like maybe she did choose to do it that way so it would flow really quickly.
I think it adds to the rawness of it. That's what I liked about it, right? It's not like whenever you talk about it in when we do reviews, when you're talking about this is somebody's memories, or somebody, it's a biography, right? Like they're talking about themselves, kind of like what we did, Mouse, right? Like there were dates. There's no date stamps on this. There's no time. She just remembers, like, oh, this is what I was feeling during this moment. And it could have been when I was 12 or 13. So there's not almost like coherent storyline where things are happening in her life that, like, with the other characters, right? Because I think that was my issue. I remember telling Melanie at first, I was like, I feel like there's other characters I want to know more about too. But I get it that at the end of the day, it's just her story, right? It's talking about her.
Yeah,
and
because
what
I mean,
she went
you can't
through.
follow through the other characters if she hasn't had that
Well,
time with them.
Like it's like one of those things that, like, she blows her mom off, like, oh yeah, my mom's a hothead. All she does is yell at me, like, and that's kind of that's really all you know about her mom. And then other than later on, what
and her
happens?
twin brother, she mentioned that he
Yeah,
was her best friend and they were inseparable, and how much he meant to
Real
her.
quick,
But right, it's not a big part of the story that she's telling.
I do want to go ahead and answer China Snook's question.
Mhm.
It is a narrative. It's not so much a random story. It's still, like, sequential.
yeah.
You're
Like, it
just
follows
following
her.
along with her, like, growth up until, like, late high school.
Like, I think she starts at 12.
And what did you think about how it flowed?
Did you say my name?
Yeah.
I'm distracted by the chat. Yeah. I love how she, like, cut every. What are we going to call them? Chapters? Were there numbers?
Yeah,
there were numbers.
There were numbers. And she showed, like, a different, like, ice skating technique. and how she maybe felt about it. Because we do learn, this is going through. Do we want to spoil things? Is that something?
We do spoilers. It's fine.
Okay. We do learn that eventually she falls out of love, if she ever was in love with ice skating. And that's a big thing because that's all she did throughout like her childhood. And that's what we learn a lot about, but it's not so much about ice skating. I like the moments that weren't about that because none of it really felt like ice skating to me.
No, and she even said that. It wasn't even really about that.
It's really about like her relationships with the girls on the teams and her relationship with her family. Yeah, we don't see a lot of her family, but when I think about my memories of when I was a kid, I don't know that I think about like specific, like how my parents were. I think I probably remember it differently than it happened because we were kids, right? Like, so I don't know. I left this hoping that her parents weren't, like her mom specifically, wasn't as terrible as she maybe came across, right? I felt so bad.
She thanked her mom and dad at the end, so.
Yeah, right. And I noticed that. And I was like, okay, well, she did thank her mom. Her mom birthed her, so maybe that's what she's thanking her for. Like, I don't know, because she.
I think that's what I meant by like it felt like something was missing in the stories because she talks about like at one point like she could just run away from it all, and then she sees her dad and she's like, oh, but I guess I can't remember exactly what she says. It's like it's something like, oh, my dad's here.
So much. I think that's why. I think it's she's so based in her feelings, and that's like at that age that's so true. And there's so many of her experiences she has in here that I feel like parallel my own. So I totally get it where you're just full with all these thoughts, especially kind of like depressing ones too. At that age where it's just everything is so fueled with emotion and embarrassment and put that with her own trauma in her life, right? The bullying that she obviously kind of like hints at, the sexual harassment deal, and like
and that car crash, like infants from her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really grateful for my childhood. I had an awesome childhood. And just reading this, I was like, I can't imagine going through something like that.
She's so isolated a lot.
Yeah.
So like I remember thinking all the same things, like I just want to give up. I hate doing these things. Like, what's the point? And then seeing my parents and being like, okay, I don't have the courage to say that thing. So I'm not going to. Like her whole journey it feels so similar to mine, being that like gifted, and she's gifted in ice skating and not so much like academically, but me being gifted academically and like
I thought you were gifted ice skating, Lee.
No.
You're not? You're such a liar.
Like just that pressure to always succeed, and then not knowing how to like you're stunted when you're so focused on that thing. Like, and then just not even, and like romantically with other people, not knowing how to deal with that part of yourself either. Man, it got me so good.
Well, and then when she's like finally really brave and she comes out to her family and her friends and that whole experience, and then being brave enough to quit ice skating, like those things also both don't really go great for her.
No.
In a lot of ways. So a lot of this was heartbreaking.
It's true. It's a slice of life, and there is uplifting things about it, but a lot of it is just hard because it's just that like it's that melancholy of growing up where nothing's really going great.
It makes you not miss that period of time in your life.
Oh yeah, no.
No thanks.
And her coming out experience is so similar to so many. I think that's what hit me so much. That was the part that really got me, where like her mom was like, are you sure this isn't just like a phase? She finds a note and she confronts her, and I was like, right? That is my real life. That is my exact real life situation. And I was like, oh God. Tillie gets it. She gets it. Thanks.
When I meant earlier, like about how there's elements that are missing, but I also enjoy that in a lot of movies. Like a lot of my favorite movies are independent films where it's more about the feeling and emotions than about the cinematography and the coherent storylines that are going on. And that's what I got out of this. I thought it was a really cool way. It felt like I was actually reading more of a journal than I was like a memoir.
Yeah.
Like, oh, on this date I went ice skating. This is what I did. Lindsay and I became friends in 1996 or whatever date it was, right? But more about just like these background characters and the things you remember as a kid. Like it's, I find like some of my favorite books are books that sometimes I have nothing in common with the main characters, just like this, or this one summer. This one summer is just two girls growing up in summertime, right? Growing apart.
Well, I feel like blankets is a good comparison too.
That's why I was interested.
That's why she picked it up.
I'm like, oh, that looks like blankets. I'm going to read
Well,
it.
it reminds me, like,
Because,
of,
look,
blankets is obviously more detailed, right? Because he
She's
even
looking
kind of,
off in the distance, poor Lord. I'm like, ooh, I'm about that.
but it,
Hey.
it does remind me of like that type of book, that type of memoir.
Yeah. So, baby, Uncanny Omar. That'll be my name for you. So, baby,
Don't do that. What?
did you identify with any parts of it?
Oh, yeah, because I was going to say, I was never a professional ice skater. I was never a little girl growing up. I didn't have lesbian tendencies. But I was a kid. Just like all of us were. And we all went through that awkward, shitty phase of our lives where we didn't know who we were, where we wanted to stand up and say something. So absolutely, I relate to the main character. It's all of us. It doesn't matter, if you were a girl or anything. If you look deep down inside, everyone in the chat, everyone watching this can relate to the main character. We've all been 12 years old at one time and we fucking hated it. No matter what.
So I'm
Man,
reading
the
this
part where
and
she was like skating and she was panicking because she can't wear underwear and she's like, I feel like I'm leaking. Oh my god, they're gonna see
oh my
my
gosh,
crotch
yes.
and my menstrual blood. I was like, girl, I get it. I get it.
I can't relate to that, but I remember my pants ripping one time when I was at the dance and my underwear was I covered myself old school 80s style with my sweatshirt around my
Oh,
But
my baby.
I do agree with Larry. I think that like it was a big part of it because like a lot of anxiety. I'm sure she was just so full. She doesn't say that she's anxious, but that girl's anxious.
Yes, when
I'm sure
reading
she
it,
was just like, I literally can't even handle dealing with this anymore. Like
When
I
I'm
need to let
reading-
all of it go.
when I'm reading it, I'm thinking it's such a beautiful, freeing sport. It seems like activity, and I just want to tell her, like, hold her face, be like, please, just have fun, be free, express yourself. And all she does is like just criticize herself. So that's how I identified as well with training in martial arts. Like, you do a kata, and you're supposed to like have no thoughts and just react. And I'm constantly criticizing myself, like, why are you doing this? You do this all the time. That's not good enough. And it really stresses me out. And I'm telling this girl, Tillie, to be like, it's fun, honey. Just go with the flow. And I'm like, oh, I can't do it for myself.
And how depressing was it when she finally told her mom, like, oh, I'm done. Like, I don't want to skate anymore. And her mom was like, okay, well, now we'll save money. And she's like, I've done this for 12 years and there was no fight. There was nothing. It was just like, okay, great. Like, no fanfare.
That's so upsetting.
Yeah, no support.
Oh god, the adults in this book.
Oh my gosh.
Like the women at the ice skating ring. I'm like, nobody touches anybody's child like that.
Man,
When she
yeah,
came,
that
like,
was awful.
I like it was so weird. Like they were getting. So there was a scene where she's talking, and by the way, they wanted to see some of the artwork. If one of you want to hold it up as I talk about this scene, because I think it does have really pretty artwork. Where like a bunch of moms are sitting there and she's getting ready, and one of them, they're looking at her and she could tell they're talking about her, and one of them gets up and grabs her by the arm saying, you can't be taking advantage of this place, you got to pay for skating like everybody else does.
And
Like,
moms do that.
Fuck is you?
Do that. They do that in organized sports. They do that in just look at dance moms. That's a real life thing. People literally do that.
And Omar, that's why I got me and Lydia out ballet.
How do I just choose myself?
I got you.
I'll try to go through some.
Gosh, I just opened to that too.
So in this book, she tends to stick to like a more monochromatic style versus some of her other works, which are very much full of color. But I really dig that because then every once in a while you have like a splash of the yellow. And Tillie's work is definitely very distinct. I can tell when it's her. It's pretty simplistic, which I do enjoy, although sometimes she does struggle from like, it can be difficult to differentiate some of her characters from who's who. So that is a problem. Like both Chris and I have talked about with Tillie's work, even though we love her. Sometimes I read a book, I'm like, I don't know if this person is this person or what.
Oh, good. I thought I was the only one talking about. I was like, is that Lindsay? That can't be.
No, it's a common complaint.
I'm just glad she wore glasses and nobody else did, so I can always tell her apart.
I feel like I love Tillie's art and I love Urasawa's art, and I'm currently reading Pluto and I'm having the same problem.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, if they're like, in their 40s and they're a little bit baldy, they all look the same.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't know who this is.
I mean, but a lot of artists.
I thought about having our daughter read this until I got to some other parts. I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah, because that's
not to turn 11, and
some conversation.
The sexual harassment. I'm like, nope. Yeah, she's gonna have to wait to read this. But I just think it would really help her, and that she would identify too, right? Because she's already acts like she's 16. Not rebellious, not like that, just in emotion way.
She would love a lot of any of like First Seconds books.
Oh, okay.
Like, there are a lot that do deal with like a little more mature theme, but I'd argue that a lot of them are young adult and all ages, and they're wonderful. Fantastic stories. Like, if you ever want recommendations, Chris and I can give you a ton. Basically, any First Second book is wonderful. Like Snapdragon is a newer one. Chris and I loved. And it's also great because it shows First Second's very good at like championing diversity and diverse stories and like writers and illustrators, which is great. And so when you read a lot of their books, you see people from all walks of life in there. And usually it's not even about, their race or sexuality. It just happens to be there. It's very well done. She would love, and a lot of really awesome, powerful girls in First Second.
Lydia, she writes on a forum, role-playing games, and she did a whole nother start of a story of characters, and she wrote at the end, oh, nobody's gay in this set. Interesting. She's like, I usually have like 10.
Oh, I'm so proud of her.
You would be.
Yeah, you got to get her into some First Second books. She would eat them up.
Cool.
She does love comic books with all kinds of, like, especially the weirder the characters. That's what she likes.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever need any recommendations, I'm going to tell you, Kristen is a girl to talk to.
Okay.
Kristen has impeccable taste.
Oh, thank you.
Anything she tells me to read is fantastic. And 3 of my upcoming reviews in a flash are purely books that she's recommended that I've reviewed.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Kanto,
so good.
Case
Oh, that's
Marco
what
Baloo.
Yeah.
Kanto was awesome.
And,
it's so good.
A Man and His Cat.
Oh,
what was it?
Guys,
A Man and His Cat.
it's so good. It just happens to be right by me.
It's so good.
So good.
that cover is awesome.
Kristen was like telling me about it on our show, and I like started to get a little teary-eyed just from her describing it. And then I read it, and I described it to Elliot. I was like, this.
I mean, you look at this cover and you assume it's some cutesy cat. No, it's not. It'll make you cry.
Oh, okay.
It's so good.
I'll have to check that out. I know Madddie showed me Snapdragon, and that thing looked beautiful.
Oh, Snapdragon's great. Yeah, that's a good recommendation.
Pumpkinheads.
Pumpkinheads. This was our pact. Wonderful. Prince and the Dressmaker. You
so
gotta
good.
get her on because they're making a musical of that too. So good. So good.
You two
And Freddie
deserve.
backs us up with Snapdragon.
Mary, how are you doing? You two deserve commission for the promotion of A Man and His Cat.
I mean, really,
who's the creator? Who's the creator behind that?
Umi Sakurai.
I was gonna say it looks like manga. Is it manga?
Yeah, it's manga. It's done by
Okay.
Square Enix. I remember seeing this book when I was in Japan before it like came over here, and it looks so cute.
Aww.
That looks cute. Is it gonna break my heart?
Yes.
No, it's just but in like a touching way. It's heartwarming.
Yeah,
It's not like
Okay, I can deal with that.
it's not like sad like something bad happens. It's just
right.
I hate when that happens in
Kristen.
animal books.
Kristen, do you like Knockout Kristen? That's
I
like
mean-
for comics is suggesting.
It was a little violent for me, but
Oh,
She's independent Kristen. She can't be knockout Kristen.
you're independent. You don't need any alliteration, or I mean, one with consonants. What's it called? Never mind.
So-
Freddie says we should call you
Consonant.
Omnicat since you're that on Jess's show.
Omnicat.
I could continue that over.
Okay, so let's go back to this book. One of the things that I had issues with is just I think was the pacing, because I hate when this happens in books, but I wanted more of things that she would mention, and there were only like 4 frames of, and she would never come back to. And I'm like, damn it, because I feel like they were so important at one time, and then she moves on to another thing, and I get it because that's the way my brain thinks too. But when
Also,
I'm reading,
it would be like this thick, right? Like it would be her whole life.
oh
If she
yes,
went to her
and I'm okay with that.
her and-
It's a very selfish nitpick. Like I would want more,
Yeah.
But-
Oh, okay. You want to come?
but it's just
Compendium?
But if it's just your strain of thoughts, then you can't help what you throw in there. Right, so that's what I was meaning at the beginning. Like for people that are going into this thinking they're going to be reading like a biography, it's not your everyday biography of this is my life when I was ice skating. It's literally like these are the emotions I was going through from the ages of 12 to how old was she? 17 at the end of the book.
Probably. Yeah, because
Yeah,
she had
so
1
for-
year left of high
Yeah.
school. So
So it's like for 5 years of her life you're going through this. So there are people in and out of her life that just like that are gone within a couple of panels that were some kind of importance to her. And then there's a couple of moments that she does keep going back through the entire time. And I love the way that it comes full circle at the end. It's really pretty. So, what about you all? Was there anything else besides the artwork and the same faces, which happens to a lot of artists, sadly?
yeah, honestly, that's my only complaint about it. I love this book. Like,
Yeah, I wondered. This is a reread for me. I first read it. I checked my Goodreads, January 2018, which I blindly picked up from the library, and I still loved it. I think I loved it a little bit more this time around. So
That's
it
awesome.
holds up to rereads. And yeah, I can see what you mean by it's a lot of just her emotions and moments of her life. But I also I liked how that was put together. I'm like you, Omar. I like the indie films and the books, and it's all about characters more than the
Yeah.
action I don't care about, right?
I still like the
So-
villain getting their up like comeuppance though. So when Grace was just gone from the school, I was like, no,
Yeah.
I wanted to see her like
Yeah.
beat her
But
up or
that's the
something.
bummer of real life, though, right? Like
Absolutely,
we don't
you
really know
don't-
what happens here.
you're
It
like,
sucks.
Oh, the guy that used to beat me up in the 5th grade, I think he got sent away. He's in some kind of like juvenile.
We can just hope she's
like,
in prison now. Yeah, it's fine.
The kid was a jerk, man. She was throwing rocks at her head.
Terrible.
Omar,
But-
you laughed in Forrest Gump when he got
Don't
next
do.
to a rock
Don't,
in his head. Saying,
I love that scene. When
just saying. And I
What-
told our girls when we watched it.
it wasn't
Don't
funny
follow
when it
your
happened
father's-
to Tillie. But like I said, it's just a small little gripe. Other than that, I thought the book was great. It was a fun read, and I love finding books like this in this medium, or when people make me read them. Not really. I didn't find this at all. It was Madddie.
I would really like for you to read On a Sunbeam too
Okay.
by her. It's very different, but it's
Is this-
it's very fun. It's interesting.
I love how you're just ignoring your cat while you talk.
This is a every
do that all the
every
time.
show thing.
Oh,
No words.
Is this true, Kristen?
I mean, I rarely reread.
Really?
Rarely. Yeah.
You need to join the show, old reader, new reader, so it forces your ass to get books off your shelf like me.
Yeah.
So without going any further, I guess what would you ladies rate this book out of 10?
9. Because
Yeah.
I identified with it. That's my scoring, right? Like, if it hits me emotionally, if it's inspirational to me, then it gets a high score.
Yeah, I would give it a 9 too. It's not like, man, it's not like a 10 out of 10 for me, but it really holds a special place.
I'm also gonna go with 9.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it this. I actually came up with a score long before you all said 9. I'm not going to be different for the sake of being different, but I was going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it was a great book. It's a great addition to my library. But then again, my library isn't saying much. I own some books that I gave a 1 out of 10. So
Getting you to read more first, second books. That's all I want.
it's my ever-growing library. I have PTSD this one summer and a couple of others from
Man,
first, second.
You just haven't really hit the iceberg on that one. There's so much for you to read.
So many good ones.
So many.
I like that it's now a publisher that I can go to, right? Like before, you would just find random little independent comic books, and now we actually have and First Second isn't the only one, but there's a couple of other smaller publishers that only publish these independent looking books.
And they're great quality. Like the graphic novels and the hardcovers for First Second are fantastic.
Yeah, I just want to ask. I like Freddie's comment here. You know,
Oh.
it's a special place in his heart too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when my dad was in a coma, I read Avengers by Kurt Busiek, so that always holds a special place in my heart. Like just sitting by his bedside and reading Avengers by Kurt Busiek. So, yeah, awesome. I hope your mom's okay, brother. Haven't read it, but it sounds like an 8. No, you ought to read it, man. You ought to read it. It's a good read. It's a fast read. But I know I've got others that are just laying around here waiting for me to read other first, second books.
You know, I never get to see Kristen's cat in videos like I see mine. So getting to see this weird tale is like
It's
very
Willow.
cool.
Look up there, Willow. She's like, no. My little one-eyed cat.
What's your cat's name?
This is Willow.
Hello.
And I have Buffy in the other room.
Oh, so you're a big fan of Ron Howard's movie, Willow. Me
I
too.
know, that's what I thought too. I was thinking.
We always forget
she's
about
on
poor
Buffy.
Willow. Yes, we know Buffy.
Oh, come on. She's like, I'm not having it. You don't want to be a part of this?
No, Garfield.
So on our Patreon, we have a place where our patrons can vote for Old Reader, New Reader. And again, on our Patreon, it was a 50-50 split.
Oh my God. Guys.
So it's between Civil War or Identity Crisis. So I guess we can decide tonight which Identity Crisis or Civil War, which Matt is not here, but which one would you all rather read? And I was thinking, whatever.
I voted. Identity.
You voted for Identity Crisis? Okay. Not that either one of them would be good for me, because I put these out there for a reason, because these are books that are well, like people really love these books, and I just don't get it. But it'll be next week. So look, we're gonna have a Civil War in the chat to decide between Identity Crisis and Civil War. I was just gonna leave it up to the chat to decide, and we can take the votes.
And I'm really into just like time things, because I posted on Instagram stories. I was like, hey, should we make a Twitch channel? Which we did, by the way. And
oh, hey, look at us. Okay.
the vote was 50-50 yes and no. Really? Guys. Enough to make one, I guess. Well, listen, not to take you away from this channel, AJ800, but Kristen and I do that the last Sunday of every month currently.
That's right.
We've been doing our Buffy readathon. So we're reading all the canon Buffy comics that start after the show is over. And next one is what? Season 10?
Season 10, Buffy and Angel and Faith.
Mm-hmm. we are the people to talk to when you need to talk about Buffy.
That's right.
Also, don't read Angel After.
Oh God, don't save your time.
I can tell you one thing.
Was that Brian Hill on something?
I don't know.
I think so.
I think Brian Hill wrote that.
IDW, Angel Run, which is technically canon
Let me look at what's happening
and
here.
not very good.
Oh, Brian Lynch.
Brian Lynch.
Brian Lynch.
Yeah.
Thank you. I remember that was a big sought-after comic book when it came out. There was one. What was? Oh, I have questions for you all. Then there was one that was written by the actor that played Drew. What's his name? The Dursula. Who was it?
Oh, do you mean the actress that played Drusilla?
No, not Drusilla. The guy, the barbarian dude from Angel.
Oh, the Grissom.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So he wrote a Lawrence story right after Andy Hatlett died.
Yeah.
Is that collected in anything? In like a library edition or anything?
I think it's in the Angel IDW stuff. So
Okay.
the standard hardcovers.
I don't think I get Buffy. It's on the slow start shows. No. Yes. It's for season 1 of Buffy's kind of slow.
Season 1's slow but short, so you can get through it.
But by the time you get halfway through season 2, shit, man, I would not stop watching that show.
By the time you get to episode 3,
We
it's cool hard.
binge watched it.
My wife hates.
Last time I binge watched something.
I was gonna say my wife hates watching television and movies, and we binge watched season 5 one night. Like I didn't go to work the next day, and she did.
But that was
you were going to school at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were in college, and we stayed up watching season 5 because we
Oh,
wanted to know
and that one part
if that.
with Willow.
Oh, that's season 6.
I said, I'm done with this show. I'm done. I'm so angry. I'm still angry about it.
Yeah.
The comics. I mean, skip the IDW stuff, but that Dark Horse stuff, especially season 9 on,
I think we did.
Yeah,
stuff I've ever read.
I don't remember.
we got through most of season 8, I think, of the Dark Horse stuff. It's sold out for now. Places are going to get it back. By the way, Lionheart.
And it is on Tales of Wonder, if you want it that bad.
Yeah. But Daredevil's getting restocked, I know, next week at Cheap Graphic Novels, as well as Black Science Library Edition. It's been out of print for a while. So that's getting stocked next Tuesday. Man, I'd love to do Preacher. Kill or Be Killed would be good too, as both of those are excellent reads. And Gotham Central is quite excellent. Everybody, this is my friend JT Gamer. He just got into Epic Collections. There's your shout out, man. Wait, what? I now remember Jess knew the actor who played Buffy's dad in college. I don't even... Who the hell was Buffy's dad? I can't remember.
Just some guy.
He was in a random episode? I can't remember.
Was he even there?
No.
They show him, but it's really brief.
One
of the earlier seasons.
Yeah, I don't remember that dude at all. Yeah, it gets better. Jess has a lot of connections, man. Like he was friends with Charles Schultz, like from Peanuts. He would send him drawings and stuff. They were pen pal letters when he was a kid. And who else?
But he's got proof of that.
Yeah, he knew somebody else too, like a famous actress.
Oh.
He was showing me pictures. I can't remember. He's connected, dude. Will Injustice 2 get a complete collection? It's like years 1 through 5.
Yeah,
Probably. I know the omnibus sell really well. Okay, so Identity Crisis for next week. Madddie has decided.
Oh, yay.
It's her choice. And then we get to do Annihilation Omnibus the following week, which I'm really excited for, on the 26th. So the 19th is Identity Crisis. 26th is Annihilation Omnibus. And if you've never read it, read along with us, because you're in for a treat.
And if any of you guys want to join me and Kristen this Sunday, we are reviewing Pluto by Naoki Urasawa.
We will also be on the Bro Show in the morning.
Thank you for reminding me.
Did you say you're reviewing Pluto? I've seen that in comic stores, and the covers always really intrigue me, but I haven't read it. I just really like the covers.
I mean, I like all of his stuff.
It's my favorite manga he did because I like Astro Boy. So I have
well, then I'm thinking something completely different.
You're thinking of something else.
Single issues is something called Pluto.
Oh.
So never mind.
Nope.
Well, they got cool covers.
Oh yeah, Freddie, we're gonna be on the Bros on Sunday morning.
We're taking over.
And I, for the first time ever, and I never tuned into the Bros ever.
You're not well. No. Kristen was tuning in last night.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I turned on for a second to say what's happening, and then Kristen happened to also be on, and then we're gonna be
Suddenly we're on the show. Yeah.
Omar, you think you can do a review of the Darkness and Witchblade series? Probably. I need to get that new hardcover. It's Nancy Collins, Swamp Thing. Good. I think she's my second favorite writer on Swamp Thing. So she's a horror novelist. So she's written novels, and she went on and wrote that. She commented on my video when I was like, I'm like upset that they never offered her Hellblazer. And she wrote a story of why they didn't offer her Hellblazer. Apparently back in the day at DC, if you weren't British, you couldn't write Hellblazer. So they said no. That's not racist. That's another word I can't think of right now.
Nationalist?
Lionheart. Melanie, what did you do?
I visited my mother-in-law, made crafts with my kids. I like doing crafts.
Yeah.
And was not made dinner. I'm still owed a dinner.
I got you.
Because your mom made some good dinner.
Hey, yeah, my mom did.
But thank you for asking. Xenophobia, that's the word.
Yeah.
I was thinking, but that's fear of aliens, right? Like fear of like different races. This is more of like a country. Like you're not British, you can't write Hellblazer.
Human race, Omar.
Okay, Napoleon Dynamite. Are you quoting Napoleon? Who was that?
I don't know. It was a meme we watched with the girls.
That was it. Please, Omar. Okay, JT hauled some great epic collections. I swear, guys. He did a video. It's on YouTube. Go to JT Gamer. There you go, my man. I got you. Omar, any truth to TOW getting JMS 2 in August and Ben Riley 2 coming out in September? I'm doing a live show on Thursday going over the new schedules for Marvel in August and July. So I don't know. I haven't looked yet. I was just waiting for David to give me the go-ahead. So I don't know. Can you guys recommend me not so well-known books people need to read?
Upgrade Soul.
Yeah.
You've definitely heard me say it. Everyone needs Upgrade Soul.
Confederacy of Dunces. Did you mean comic book?
I tried that, baby. Oh my gosh.
You tried Starman. I don't know how the hell we're still married.
Confederacy of Dunces, and I just couldn't do it.
Omar, you need to cook. Thank you, Lionheart.
He is a good cook.
I will cook. I promise. Xenophobia is fear of xenomorphs. I always thought that as a kid, too. Like when I watched Alien. Wait, these things are xenomorphs? And I have xenophobia.
I have a question. What else should I add to my in-stock trades cart? Because Superman Smashes the Klan came out, and then so did Justice League Dark. I need to catch my Justice League Dark, so I got volume 2 and 3. But that's only $33.55. What else do I get?
You could throw Hellblazer in there or just wait another week for discounts. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, These books probably aren't going to go anywhere all the time.
Thanks, Melanie. It was because we were busy.
And your mom made dinner, and
My mom
it was
made
good,
dinner.
So I see that.
All right, here's a book I'm gonna throw at you all, because I'm gonna start a segment on the channel called Hidden Gems, because a lot of people ask me about these books that nobody's ever heard of. One of the books from Marvel that I really, really like, I've gone on about Agents of Atlas, but that nobody talks about, especially now, is The Hood by Brian K. Vaughan. That book is so fun, so good. And it's only 5 issues. It's out in trade paperback and in
Oh, I forgot
hardcover.
to read it. You
Yeah,
read it, and I forgot to read it.
It's old. It's probably like 15 years old. And they used the character like Bendis used the character in Avengers, but it's just not the same. But that 5-issue miniseries was so awesome. And
Is that where
everyone
there's a lot of Spanish in it?
No, that's Barrier.
Oh, oops, never
You're
mind.
thinking of Barrier. That's an excellent read. Have you read that, Kristen? You look like the type that would read Barrier.
I've heard
with your
of it. I haven't
glasses
read it.
on. You've heard of it.
I've
heard of Spinning, and I read that, so you need to read Barrier.
Write it
Every
down.
time we recommend one book to Omar, it's like, no.
Hey, I gave it an 8 out of 10. That's really good. I liked it. I'm not gonna tweet Tillie Walden because I don't have Twitter, but you tell her I said hello and I liked her book.
Jessica, I have it, and I'm dying to watch it. Is it because Constantine slept with King Shark? Maybe. That's the best thing I've ever heard.
Oh, Madddie, you need
What?
What's Michael. Add What's Michael to your card.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's so good.
it's so cute.
It's
You'll
one of
love
my favorite manga that I introduced to my daughter.
He's like a Japanese Garfield. I mean,
Oh, it's
kinda.
so much better though. Like
yeah,
the
I
mafia
know.
guy. That guy's awesome.
That was the best part with that guy.
All right, we can at Tillie on Near Mint's Instagram. There you go, Madddie. You can tell her we all loved her book.
Mm-hmm. And every time I hear the title, I think of like a spinning class, like bikes, right? Isn't that what's called in the gym? The spinning.
Oh, and when I looked at the cover, I thought it was about ballerinas because you don't see the
I did
ice
see it,
skates.
yeah. Mhm.
Like you only see the skirts up, and I'm like, oh, it's about ballet. Cool.
No, you can't see the ice skates. You just not
I wasn't
very
paying
noticeable.
attention. Tillie Walden, the author of Spinning. Walden. Got it. Yes, I got it that time.
Walden.
I got her name mixed up with Tilda Swinton. It happens. I didn't have the book in front of me. Melanie took it. Michael, I haven't seen you comment. You're usually good with the quips, man. Spouses and mouses. Yeah, Amazon is out of stock right now, almost out of print. Or Amazon, I mean Blackest Night. Amazon's not out of print.
Mm.
Who are some of your favorite artists, Kristen? I never get to talk to you about these things.
Well, you don't feel great about Jeff Lemire, but I love Jeff Lemire.
You like his art?
Yeah, I love his art.
Oh, get
It's
her
on my
off this
body.
show.
It's
No!
on my body.
Oh,
wait,
wow.
let me
Yeah.
see that. Let me see it.
Yes,
No,
I see it
no,
again.
you're mad at me. No.
No, I'm not mad at you. You like Duck
No,
Comics.
but
It's all
it-
good.
There we go.
Here, wait.
Do we want
There
to see
we
my blotchy arm?
There we go.
That's-
There we go.
I'm freezing in here.
What's that from?
That's from Essex County,
Okay.
which I read and loved many, many years ago. Before
Yeah.
all the hype, guys.
Oh, you're one of those.
That's one of
You're
them.
one of
That's
those
right.
little.
That's right.
We're gonna be trending Spinning tomorrow. You're gonna be like, I read that in 2018. Look at
That's
my
right.
Goodreads. Come on,
right.
Freddie.
I sure don't.
I'm talking about art. Yeah, I love his
Thank you.
writing.
Thank you, Mary.
I don't think. Okay, Mary. Okay. Is everybody all of a sudden a Jeff Lemire lover now? I love his writing. Like, I don't think I've read anything he's done, with the exception of one X-Men book, but that doesn't count because editors. That I have not enjoyed by Lemire.
Animal Man was perfect.
Oh, Animal Men, yes, but his art. Woo! Boy, I had to push myself to finish Sweet Tooth, but I love the story so much that I pushed myself to do it. And then, what was the Roughneck? There's a couple others that I read with his art that I was like, why do I keep buying these books? I don't like the art. Oh, Jeff Lemire, I like his writing.
I mean, at least you read it. A lot of people feel that way, but I love his art. I love how sketchy it is. I like unique art like that.
No, it's good. It is very independent. It looks very indie, right?
So I just had a question for you. Melanie, question on convention, or were you always in the comics?
Yeah, I started going to the comic book shop after karate class in middle school and fell in love with Spider-Man. Just got random back issues of things. Never up to snuff with Omar's knowledge, right, of comics. But yeah, I've always liked comics. Of course, he reads them a lot more. That's okay. Yeah.
And Melanie's a geek too, so she's into all the
Yeah.
anime and science fiction and all sorts of stuff too.
Of course, the Canadians take up for Jeff Lemire. I like Freddie's comment. I'm not a fan of his art either, but I ain't yelling at people. No, I think it's awesome. I like it. So he's one of your favorite artists. Who else?
Don Rosa.
Oh,
Yeah. I always hope to randomly run into him in Louisville. It never happens.
One of the best
I know
stories
it
ever.
happened to you. I know it happened to you. That's
It's so cool to
exciting.
watch him just sketch, like right when we get the sketches from him at conventions, just like so quick, and then it's perfect.
Dude,
It's amazing.
I took my Boom Comics collection to him, and he scratched out Walt Disney. He was so pissed. He said, I hate Boom Comics, because they did screw him over, right? Like, and he scribbled it out, Boom. He signed his name and drew me a sketch. I'm like, I don't care, you're done.
Yeah, he's allowed to
That's
do that.
awesome. That makes it better.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Walt Disney he was going, you know how he talks, if you've ever heard an interview. Walt Disney had nothing to do with this book at all. I loved it. I was like, dude, I just brought you the book. I bought it. Don't tear up my book, please. Just sign it.
So, Kristen, have you met him at like a convention?
Sadly, no.
He'll give you like peppers or like seeds. He's got
Oh, yeah,
like
he grows them, right?
Yeah, he grows them.
and
Yeah,
he's like,
that's
here you
cool.
go, have some. I got a ton. Take more. I'm like, I'm good.
That's neat.
Yeah.
He takes his time with everybody, too. He's a nice dude.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
He doesn't like doing conventions in his state, because he doesn't get the respect that, he gets everywhere else.
Yeah,
It's like
Well,
over...
I get that.
Conventions suck anyways.
Yeah. Like, you want to see something, like... Have you seen what it looks like when he's at a convention in Europe?
Oh gosh, yeah.
You look at those videos and
Yeah.
people are around, like,
It's
you think
crazy.
like they're waiting on like royalty, right? Like they are around the building twice.
Well, and the guys that were behind us, they flew from Sweden,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
They flew into
just
I
to
don't
see
know
him.
what- Yeah, just to see him, right? They didn't have to wait in line. We
One
were
of the
the only
guys-
ones there. And we were like,
was-
oh, go ahead, because you flew in.
There
from-
was a guy I talked to a couple of years ago from Chile, and he said it was just easier to buy a ticket to come to America, to come to one of these conventions, than wait for him to go once a year down there to our mall.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, good, you got a special shelf for those, man.
Oh,
They're great. Knowledge is a nice way of saying obsession. Probably. Don Rosa's coming to Baltimore Con this year. Is that still going on? Because they've canceled like all cons just about.
yeah. I'm gonna really doubt that.
He was there.
Well,
He was there last year, but I don't know if we're gonna have a con. I miss going to cons. It
I'm
sucks.
with you, but I also don't want to do it.
You don't want to risk going to a convention.
Not right now, no.
yeah. I don't care if our state's coming up.
Oh, I don't want to be a first waiver. Like everybody else go to cons. And you know what? Don Rosa ain't going nowhere either with his attitude. He's gonna sit his ass at home.
I think today.
Hey, Michael knew I was getting a beer.
How they wanted to make sure it was growing. And everyone was like, "What? No, you can't drag out of people."
Yeah, no
Wait,
thing.
when is Dragon Con? Isn't it? They're still gonna go through with it?
That's what
What's
they.
up for a few months, right? September? When is it?
Yeah, but they've canceled like concerts and things like that. Like people are really cautious about this.
Word up. I mean, none of you should expect to go to any large event.
Yeah,
That's hard.
I have concert tickets at the end of July and the beginning of August, and I'm waiting for them to tell me something. I'm like, I don't think it's going to happen, but I need some knowledge share. Give me my
Yeah.
money.
Like Melanie was gonna see the
The way these are.
Smashing Pumpkins, and it's been
It was last
rescheduled.
month, right?
Yeah,
I
it was in
think like
May.
October or something.
But guys,
So,
good news. We can all watch Hamilton on July 3rd.
Yes,
on Disney Plus.
that's the best news.
on what?
That's my birthday, July 3rd. So happy birthday to me. Thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda. For that.
Where are they going to show it?
Disney
On
Plus.
Disney Plus.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Best news.
Thanks, Maddy.
That's
That's really cool.
that's cool that they're doing that.
Yeah.
So glad, finally. Nobody has to watch the weekly anymore.
What's Hamilton?
What's
Appar-
Hamilton?
Apparently, he was some president
What
or
is,
something,
not who is.
and he liked to rap. That's all I remember.
That's about right.
Popular musical the past decade.
2 cons I go to every August haven't been canceled yet, but we know it's going to happen. Unfortunately, that may mean I miss my chance of meeting Louise Simonson.
And a lot of cons, they
Wheezy.
can't cancel ahead of time, even if they want to, because they have to wait until it's like forced to measure, forces like until once it's like they are completely not allowed to go, then they can back out without losing any money. But if they cancel ahead of time, they lose money. So a lot of cons, that's why you don't see like announcements just yet because they have to wait at the very last second.
Oh. This is a good question.
Hey, all, wife isn't into comics, but want to get her started. She likes romance, comedy flicks, reality TV, ex-married at first sight.
Right.
Example.
I want to introduce her to Boom Comics and First Second Comics. They're the perfect gateway drug for people that are into that type of media.
Yeah, you could check out Heavy Vinyl because it's
Yeah.
right here. Also, it's great.
This is right here.
Do you just have that with you at all times? So
It's just
anybody's
on my
like,
desk.
what comic book can I show my wife? You're like, you can always check out
What
Heavy
else do I
Vinyl.
have? I also have Scott Pilgrim here because I recently reread that.
Hey, Booze,
Rocco's Modern Afternoon.
I don't have any more books than me.
I was gonna ask you, Melanie, what were some of the things that you liked, but it's
Well, thinking of comedy romance, it was manga,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
You
That I
know,
was really into, and it makes me sad that I'm not anymore. I tried.
I think it's
I
easy to age out of some of that.
What?
I think it's easy to age out of some of like the manga tropes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot harder when you're used to seeing the same stereotypes and tropes over and over again. Just get into that same like romance manga that you did before, because a lot of manga doesn't try to like do anything new, and so like finding a gem of a manga where you're like, oh, this is different. This is something to really get my like heart into is different.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Oh,
I think
So, Omar,
my actual answer to that though is Giant Days.
Giant Days.
definitely Giant Days.
Yeah.
And Omar, definitely, yeah, Strangers in Paris is a perfect one, I think.
I always suggest that one, but it's a long story.
It's a slow burn. But
And-
it does read like a sitcom.
You know, one that Melanie really liked. I remember you liked Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane. Like,
Yeah,
you love that
so
book.
Omar Jr. over here.
Oh,
not you,
Reyes.
Omar.
Right, okay.
If your wife is interested in like is young teen fiction, then that would be a good choice.
Yeah,
I don't know what Married at First Sight is, so I don't know what to compare it to.
It's a reality show.
Have you read Beauty and the Black Monday Murders? Finished them and they were great. I haven't read that one. Bone. I suggest that to anyone with a pulse. Bone's solid.
That's
I
fair.
really like Bone. Like I was saying though, Strangers in Paradise, I think it's kind of a long story, but it's beautiful. If she can get through those, first few issues and all the drama.
Oh, I love it.
But I like drama, so.
It's like a reality show, I think
That's why you like X-Men.
Yeah, she likes reality shows. What was the comic book with the reality TV characters? Damn it. Marvel did one.
This Total Drama Island has like
We were just talking about that Sunday, right? Did you say Drama Island?
yeah, Total Drama Island.
That's a Cartoon Network, right? It's like a Cartoon Network show. Yeah, they had like some new thing. Like they were younger. Me and Lydia were complaining how it didn't look interesting. Sorry.
That's my wife. That's my Silver Surfer. I got it. Silver Surfer by Dan Slott. I think is a beautiful read for your wife and yourself because it
the Ladybug girl.
Yes. And there's
I
a read.
that. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting.
It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite comics I read last year.
Oh yeah.
Might get her in the mood. It might. That's it. It was New Warriors for. Oh, thank you. That's what it was. Damn it.
All right. Well, I think we killed it. Good job.
All right, there you go, Omar. There's a bunch of suggestions from all of us. Ecstatics. That was cute. Okay, so next week we'll be doing.
Omar, not you, Omar. But don't get offended if she doesn't like it because my Omar said read Starman and I tried twice and I didn't like it.
No, you can totally get offended if you don't like it.
Something else.
Then you question where you went wrong in life. All right. So next week.
I had to just read at the end. Maybe I'm like.
But that's okay. She loves Berserk, so we're good. We're good. She loves Berserk.
Mentioned that we might enjoy Vinland Saga. What was it?
Oh, Vinland Saga is awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's a manga.
Oh wow! You don't have it though, do you?
Yeah, I got the first 10 volumes. I need volume 11.
Wow, I'll get it.
It's freaking awesome. It's Vikings. It's like Berserk. It's violent. It's freaking good. So, join us next week for Identity Crisis and the week after that for the Annihilation Omnibus. Kristen, where can people find you when you're not hanging out with us teaching us about all your independent books that you like and you're finding way before anybody else does?
Well, you can find me with Madddie talking about those books on the Omnibus Collectors Network every Sunday evening, or when we change it, we'll let you know. We're talking about Pluto this weekend.
Oh, I'm excited. I'll tune into that.
And Dick Around. If we ever leave the channel, we'll have a show that's just called Kristen and Madddie Dicking Around.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Kristen and Madddie Dicking Around? I love that. That's such a great title. You'll get lots of hits.
Yeah.
Lots of hits, but people will be disappointed. This is not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tomorrow I am doing 2 live shows at 3:00. I'm going to be with Comics Pop Sal. He's joining me on the channel. We're going to talk about our dream creative teams on books we'd love to see after the pandemic is over. And then that's at 3:00 Eastern Standard Time. At 8:00, I'll be doing the movie review with Amanda. I think it's The Phantom. Thanks, guys, for voting for that one. So I think it's The Phantom. Melanie, people can find you here at the house and with me sometimes. But this is a good question. What age did you introduce your girls to comics? Man.
I don't remember because it's just always been here, right?
It's always been a part of their lives. Tiny Titans.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Art Balthazar's Tiny Titans.
Because you would quiz them.
At the age of 2 and 3.
In fact, I haven't in a while, but me and Alicia, she's 8. We still, we'll take turns reading the bubbles. And then she gets selfish and keeps reading. I'm like, no, it's my turn. Let me do a voice. She loves those.
And then Lydia, when she was 5 years old, started reading Peanuts. And she did it for 3 years. Up until she was 8.
5?
She was 5.
6. Golly, she loved those.
She's a smart kid.
And I tried to get her into Calvin and Hobbes, and she didn't really get into it.
I think it really, depends on it. Like, she was digging The Far Side.
Yeah. He stopped himself from buying it because you'd have to buy more, right? When they come out with another.
I'd buy the God Hand, I'd buy them all, and it would be bad. It would not be a good.
I cross-stitched him Guts, so does that count? Do you
Yeah.
ladies like Berserk? Have you read Berserk? Has anyone told you about Berserk?
You sound like a door-to-door Christian trying to sell you.
That's not the One Piece. I get it.
What?
That's
Oh,
not the One Piece, so I get it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. There's only so many fandoms, right, that you have room for.
No, I will always have more room.
Oh,
Yeah,
you will? Okay.
It is Comics Pop Sal. He'll be joining me tomorrow on the channel at 3:00. Yeah, you haven't read Berserk, have you, Kristen? Do you like gore though? Do you like?
I read the first volume years ago, and I hear now
don't judge
from
it.
you that I need to skip past that. So
you know what you honestly need to do is what I tell a lot of people that just couldn't just watch that movie, the very first one, and see if you get hooked. And if you get hooked and you watch all 3 of them and you're like, oh God, I gotta know how this ends out.
Yeah.
Then that's the
I
way you do it.
I plan to jump in. It's something I think I'll enjoy.
That's what we did, right?
That's what you did. Yeah.
Was it that? No, well, I meant that you showed me the movies.
Yeah.
Was it Preacher or was it Berserk? You said I wasn't allowed to read. I think it's Preacher. I think
Preacher's pretty blasphemous. And I keep it on my bottom shelves away from you. I mean, you're more than welcome to read it. I'm not keeping books from you, but I know you're gonna be like, burn these. I don't want you to burn my books.
But yeah, at the end of that third movie, well, the end of the third Berserk movie, I was like praying for real. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really scary. And I was like, I gotta know what happens. Oh, so much fun.
So check out Kristen and Madddie when they do. Wait, y'all are still going under Fangirls though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the Omnibus Collectors channel. So check them both out. So, thank you everybody for joining us. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe. Madddie, you want to do the rest? You're really good at that. You don't mess up like I do.
If you ever want to support us, you can obviously hit the like and subscribe and hit that notification button. We have a Redbubble store, we have a Patreon, through which you can vote for stuff and get exclusive content. And thanks for joining. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.